My name is Anastasia, and this is how my sister took my college fund. I waited 4 years, then bought the house she rented became the turning point of my life. I stood in the marble-floored lobby of Bennett& Associates, holding an envelope that contained the deed to 447 Riverside Drive. My hands weren't shaking anymore. 4 years of planning, saving, and waiting had led to this moment. Through the glass doors, I could see my sister Victoria pulling up in her leased Mercedes, her phone pressed to her ear, probably complaining to someone about her rising rent. She had no idea her landlord had just changed. She had no idea that landlord was me. Have you ever watched someone steal your future and build their dream life on top of it? Let me back up. I was 17 when my grandmother died and left me $50,000 specifically for college. Not for a car, not for a wedding, not to be touched for anything except education. She'd been a school teacher for 40 years, and she knew what it meant to be the first in your family to get a degree. My mother had dropped out. My father never went. Grandma Rose wanted different for me. She made my parents co-trustees of the fund until I turned 18, with explicit written instructions that the money was mine and mine alone. Victoria was 23 then, newly married to Derek, a commercial real estate agent with expensive taste and mediocre sales numbers. They were renting a cramped apartment in the city, driving a 10-year-old Honda, eating ramen 3 nights a week. I remember Victoria crying at Grandma's funeral, mascara running down her face. I thought she was grieving. Looking back, I think she was already calculating. 2 months before my 18th birthday, my parents sat me down at the kitchen table. My mother wouldn't look at me. My father cleared his throat 3 times before speaking. "The money's gone," he said. I laughed, actually laughed, because it was such an absurd thing to say. "What do you mean, gone?" "Victoria and Derek needed help with the down payment," my mother said quietly. "They found this beautiful house in Riverside. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The market was about to explode, and Derek said, 'You gave my college fund to Victoria?'" My voice didn't sound like my own. "It's an investment," my father said, defensive now. "The house will appreciate. When they sell, you'll get your money back with interest. It's smarter than letting it sit in an account." I looked at both of them, these people who were supposed to protect me, and saw something I'd never seen before. Shame buried under justification. They'd already made the decision. This conversation was just a performance. That money was mine. Grandma left it for me, for college. "Family helps family," my mother said, and that was the line that broke something in me, because apparently family only went one direction. I called Victoria. She answered on the 4th ring, breathless and happy. "Anna, did they tell you? You have to come see the house. It's perfect. 3 bedrooms, original hardwood floors, and this kitchen with marble countertops. Derek says the neighborhood is about to be the next big thing." "You took my college fund." Silence. Then, "It's not like that. It's a loan, an investment. You'll get it back." "When?" "When we sell or refinance." "Anna, don't be dramatic. You're young. You have time to save for college. Derek and I needed this now. Our landlord was selling and we would have been homeless. You could have rented somewhere else. You don't understand real estate. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You should be happy for me. For us." Her voice had turned cold. "You always do this. You make everything about you." She hung up. I sat in my childhood bedroom, surrounded by college brochures and acceptance letters I couldn't afford to accept, and realized that the people who were supposed to love me had chosen Victoria's marble countertops over my future. I was 18 years old, and I just learned that fairness was a children's story. I didn't go to college that fall. I got a job as a receptionist at a law firm downtown, making $12 an hour and taking the bus because I couldn't afford a car. I enrolled in community college part-time, paying out of pocket, taking 2 classes a semester because that's all I could afford while paying rent on a studio apartment that smelled like old carpet and someone else's cigarette smoke. Victoria posted pictures of her house on social media: the living room with its leather sectional, the backyard with the new deck Derek built, her kitchen, where she hosted dinner parties for Derek's colleagues, wearing dresses that cost more than my monthly rent. She never mentioned where the down payment came from. In her story, she and Derek had done it all themselves. Self-made success. I didn't comment. I didn't like the photos. I made my social media private and disappeared from the family narrative. At the law firm, I kept my head down and my ears open. I learned that information was currency and patience was power. I watched the attorneys work, learned their patterns, understood their strategies. After 8 months, one of the senior partners, Margaret Chen, noticed me staying late, reading case files I wasn't supposed to touch. "You interested in law?" she asked, leaning against my desk at 7 p.m. on a Thursday. "I'm interested in justice," I said. "They don't seem like the same thing." She laughed, sharp and genuine. "Smart girl. You going to school?" "Community college. 2 classes at a time. It's what I can afford." "There's a paralegal certification program. 6 months, evening classes. If you're interested, the firm will pay half. You need to commit to working here 2 years after." I looked at her carefully. "Why?" "Because you're smart. You work hard and you don't kiss ass. That's rare." She straightened. "Think about it." I didn't. "Need to think about it." I said yes before she left my desk. For the next 2 years, I worked full-time and studied at night. I became a paralegal, then a senior paralegal. My salary doubled, then tripled. I moved to a better apartment. I learned real estate law, contract law, family law. I learned how money moves and how people hide it and how the system protects those who know how to use it. I didn't call Victoria. She didn't call me. We existed in the same family only technically. My parents sent awkward text messages on holidays that I answered politely and briefly. They never apologized. I never forgot. 3 years after Victoria took my money, I saw her at our cousin's wedding. She looked good. Expensive highlights, designer dress, professional makeup. She hugged me like we were close, like nothing had happened. "Anna, oh my God, you look great. How have you been?" "Working. You?" "Busy. The house is amazing, but it's so much upkeep. And Derek's been traveling for work. Real estate is crazy right now." She sipped her champagne, scanning the room for someone more important. "You still doing that receptionist thing?" "I'm a senior paralegal now. Real estate law, actually." Her eyes sharpened. "Oh, that's good. Yeah, I've learned a lot about property investment, liens, foreclosures, market analysis." I smiled. "How's your mortgage?" "Fine. Good. Great, actually." She was lying. I could tell because she always touched her necklace when she lied. A nervous habit from childhood. "We're building equity." "That's good. Equity's important." I paused. "You ever think about that loan? The one from my college fund?" Her face froze. Around us, the wedding continued, oblivious. "Anna, it's been years. Let it go. You're doing fine." "I'm doing fine because I worked for it. Every dollar, every night class, every promotion. Me." I kept my voice level, friendly even. "You're doing fine because Grandma Rose wanted me to have an education." "That's not fair." "No," I agreed. "It's not." She left without saying goodbye. I stayed for the whole reception, dancing with cousins who didn't know the history, smiling for photos, playing the part of the good family member. But inside, something had shifted. I was done being the understanding one, done waiting for an apology that would never come. I went home and opened a new savings account. I labeled it 447 Riverside Drive. The next morning, I started tracking Victoria's house. Property records are public information when you know where to look. I learned everything: their purchase price, their mortgage terms, their property taxes, their payment history. I watched Derek's real estate business struggle through public sales records. I saw them refinance twice, pulling equity out of the house to cover debts. I saw them list the house for sale, then pull the listing when it didn't sell at their inflated price. They were drowning in debt they'd built on my stolen future, and nobody knew but me. I saved everything I could. live below my means, invested carefully. Margaret Chen became my mentor, teaching me not just law, but strategy. Revenge is a dish best served with documentation, she once told me over coffee after I'd confided in her about Victoria. If you're going to do something, do it legally, thoroughly, and in a way they never see coming. 4 years after Victoria took my money, I had built something she hadn't: real, sustainable success. I'd earned my bachelor's degree through night school. I'd been promoted to case manager. I'd saved and invested aggressively. And I'd watched my sister's perfect life slowly crack apart. Derek's business finally failed. They listed the house again, desperate now. The price dropped 3 times. The market in Riverside had plateaued, then declined. Their once-in-a-lifetime investment had become a financial anchor. When the house went to auction after their mortgage default, I was ready. I didn't bid in person. I used an LLC Margaret helped me set up, anonymous and clean. I bid exactly what they owed on the mortgage, not a dollar more. No one else wanted a house that needed work in a neighborhood that hadn't appreciated like everyone predicted. The gavel fell, and 447 Riverside Drive became mine. The irony was almost too perfect. They'd stolen my future to buy this house. Now the house was mine, and their future was elsewhere. Smaller, rented. I didn't tell them immediately. I hired a property management company to handle the transaction. Victoria and Derek received a standard notice. The house had been sold at auction. They had 30 days to vacate, and if they wished to stay, they could apply to rent month to month at market rate. Victoria called my mother first. I know because my mother called me, panicked. "Anna, your sister lost the house. They're devastated. Derek's business failed, and they couldn't make the payments. And now some company bought it and wants them out. Can you believe someone would do that? Just buy someone's home out from under them?" I let the silence stretch. Then, "Who's the new owner?" "Some LLC, Bennett Properties or something. We don't know. The property management company won't say." "That's legal. Buyers often use LLCs for privacy." "Can you look into it? Use your law firm connections? Maybe there's something we can do." "Why would I do that?" "Because she's your sister." My mother's voice cracked. "Please, Anna. Family helps family." I closed my eyes. That phrase, the same phrase she'd used to justify giving away my future. You're right. Family should help family. Where was that energy 4 years ago? Anna, tell Victoria she can apply to rent like everyone else. The property management company will review her application fairly. That's more than she gave me. I hung up. Victoria called me next 3 days later. She was crying. Real tears this time, not the calculated kind from Grandma's funeral. "Anna, please. I know we're not close, but I need help. We're losing everything. The house, Derek's parents put up money we can't pay back, and now we have nowhere to go. Your mom said you might know someone who could help, could talk to the new owner." "What would you want me to tell them?" "That we're good people, that we had bad luck, that we'll pay rent. We just need a chance. That house is our home. Please." I thought about my studio apartment that smelled like cigarettes, my night classes and bus rides and ramen dinners, my 18th birthday when the future I'd counted on disappeared because someone else needed it more. "I'll see what I can do," I said. I didn't lie. I did see what I could do. And what I could do was exactly what I did. The property management company reviewed Victoria's application. Her credit was destroyed. Derek had no verifiable income, and they had an eviction on their record now. They were denied. They moved into a 2-bedroom apartment in a less desirable neighborhood. Victoria got a job at a department store. Derek delivered food at night. They sold most of their furniture because it didn't fit. The leather sectional, the dining room set, the expensive artwork they'd bought with equity loans. I renovated 447 Riverside Drive. New kitchen, updated bathrooms, refinished floors. I rented it to a young couple, both teachers, who reminded me of Grandma Rose. The rent covered my mortgage with enough left over to finally finish my bachelor's degree full-time. I didn't tell Victoria for 8 months. I let her stabilize first. Let her find her footing in the smaller life she'd built. Let her understand what it meant to start over with nothing. Then I invited her to coffee. She looked tired. Not just physically, though, there was that too. Tired in the bone-deep way that comes from carrying shame and failure. She ordered a small coffee, no food, carefully counting her money. "Thanks for meeting me," I said. "Of course. We're still sisters." She tried to smile. "I've missed you." "Have you?" Her smile faded. "What's going on, Anna?" I slid an envelope across the table. "Open it." Inside was a copy of the property deed for 447 Riverside Drive, my name at the top, the LLC registration documents, the auction records, everything. She stared at the papers for a long time. Her hands started shaking. "You bought our house." "Yes." "You were the one who evicted us." "The bank evicted you when you defaulted on the mortgage. I bought the house at auction, legally, with my money that I earned." I kept my voice calm. "Money I earned because you and Derek stole my college fund." "We didn't steal. You took $50,000 that my grandmother left specifically for me, for college, and used it for a down payment on a house you couldn't afford. You didn't ask me. You didn't give me a choice. You took my future and called it an investment." Tears spilled down her face. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I knew it was wrong. I told myself we'd pay you back. But then Derek's business struggled, and the house needed repairs, and we refinanced to consolidate debt. And suddenly we were drowning. I wanted to tell you. I wanted to make it right. But you didn't." "No." She wiped her eyes. "I didn't. I was ashamed and selfish, and I convinced myself you were fine, that you didn't need it as badly as we did. I'm sorry, Anna. I'm so sorry." I believed her. That's the thing people don't tell you about revenge. Sometimes they really are sorry. Sometimes they genuinely regret what they did. It doesn't change what they took from you. "I waited 4 years," I said quietly. 4 years of working 2 jobs, night classes, studio apartments, and ramen dinners. Do you know why I waited?" She shook her head, crying silently now. "Because I needed to do it right. I needed to build something real, something you couldn't take or dismiss or minimize. I needed you to understand what you did." I leaned forward. "You didn't just take money, Victoria. You took trust, safety, the belief that family meant something." "I know." "Do you?" I pulled out a second envelope. Inside here is a check for $50,000. The amount you took, not adjusted for inflation, not including interest I could have earned, not accounting for student loans I had to take or opportunities I missed. Just 50,000. The bare minimum. Her eyes widened. "I'm giving you a choice I didn't get. You can take this check, and we're even financially. The debt is settled. But I never want to see or speak to you again. No family holidays, no weddings, no phone calls. We become strangers who share DNA." I paused. "Or you don't take the money. You live with what you did, and we try to rebuild something resembling a relationship. No promises, no timeline, no guarantee I'll ever forgive you. But the possibility exists." "You'd really give me the money?" "To be free of you?" "Yes." She stared at the envelope for a long time. I could see her calculating, weighing. $50,000 would change her life right now. Pay off debt, put a down payment on a modest house, give her breathing room. She pushed the envelope back to me. "I don't want it," she said, voice shaking. "Not like this. If you give me that money and we never speak again, then I'm exactly who you think I am. Someone who only cares about money, who used you and would do it again." She met my eyes. "I can't undo what I did. I can't give you back those 4 years. But I can try to be someone worthy of being your sister, even if it takes the rest of my life." I hadn't expected that. I prepared for her to take the money. Part of me wanted her to take it, to prove that she was exactly as selfish as I'd believed. But she didn't. "Okay," I said finally. We'll see. That was 2 years ago. Victoria still rents that two-bedroom apartment. She got promoted to assistant manager at the department store. Derek found steadier work in property management, ironically. They're rebuilding their credit, living within their means, going to couples therapy. We have coffee once a month. Sometimes it's awkward. Sometimes she says something thoughtless and I have to walk away. Sometimes I catch myself being cruel in small ways, testing her, waiting for her to fail or give up. But she keeps showing up. Last month, she asked if I'd be willing to lower the rent on 447 Riverside Drive for my tenants, the teachers, because she'd met them at a neighborhood event and learned they were struggling with their student loans. Not for her benefit, for theirs. I did it. Reduced the rent by $200 a month and told them it was a thank you for taking care of the property. I didn't tell them Victoria suggested it, but I told her I'd done it. Thank you, she said. That's really kind. I learned from someone, I replied. My grandmother Rose, the one who believed education mattered enough to leave her life savings for it. Victoria nodded, tears in her eyes again. She cries easier now, less calculated. I wish I'd known her better. Really known her. Me too. I still own 447 Riverside Drive. It's worth more now after the renovations. I could sell it for a significant profit. But I keep it, rent it to good people at fair rates, and use the income to fund a small scholarship at my old community college. For students who are first in their family to go to college, who are working full-time and taking classes at night, who've had their futures interrupted by circumstances beyond their control. It's not named after Grandma Rose, though maybe it should be. It's not named after me either. It's called the Second Chance Scholarship because that's what it is. That's what I'm learning to give Victoria, too. Not forgiveness, not yet, maybe not ever, but something like understanding. The recognition that people can be weak and selfish and still find their way to something better. That revenge can be satisfying without being cruel. That justice doesn't always look like punishment. Some nights, I still lie awake angry about the 4 years I lost, the traditional college experience I never had, the ease Victoria enjoyed while I struggled. I don't know if I'll ever stop being angry about that. But I also lie awake grateful, because those 4 years taught me things I couldn't have learned any other way. I learned I was strong enough to build a future from nothing. I learned patience and strategy and the difference between justice and vengeance. I learned that the family you choose, mentors like Margaret, friends who showed up, colleagues who saw my worth, matters more than the family you're born into. And I learned this. The best revenge isn't destroying someone else's life. It's building your own so well that their betrayal becomes irrelevant. It's winning not by making them lose, but by refusing to let them define what winning means. My name is Anastasia, and my sister stole my college fund to buy a house. I waited 4 years, bought that house, and discovered that getting even matters less than getting free. The house was never the point. The point was learning I didn't need their validation, their apology, or their fairness to become exactly who I was meant to be. Sometimes the best revenge is becoming someone they can't take anything from anymore, because you've built something too strong, too real, and too completely your own.